Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's terrifying tale, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next in this story. So this story takes place in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Portland, Oregon, just a few days before Halloween. Now, the Johnson family, that's Mark, his wife Jennifer, and their 10-year-old daughter Emily, were going all out with their Halloween decorations this year. Jennifer was in the front yard, carving pumpkins and hanging up cobwebs, when little Emily came running up to her, gave her a big hug, and kissed her on the cheek. Mom, I just had the best idea ever," Emily said, practically bouncing with excitement. "What is it, sweetie?" Jennifer asked, wiping the pumpkin guts off her hands. "Instead of going to Uncle Dave's house this year for Halloween, why don't we throw our own party? Right here. Wouldn't that be so much fun?" Jennifer thought about it for a second. "You know what? That's actually a brilliant idea. Halloween is in 2 days, so we've still got time to get everything ready. What do you think, honey?" she called out to Mark, who was untangling a string of orange lights. "Whatever you two want is fine by me," Mark said with a smile. "Perfect," Jennifer said. "Mark, why don't you and Emily head to the store and grab more decorations, some snacks and drinks? I'll handle cooking the dinner. Just make me a list." So Mark and Emily headed down to the local shopping center, and let me tell you, the whole place was absolutely decked out in Halloween decorations. I'm talking life-size skeletons, giant inflatable ghosts, the works. People were already walking around in costume, getting into the spirit of things. Emily's eyes lit up when she saw all the costumes. Dad, I need one of those costumes. If we're throwing a party, I have to dress up." "Of course, princess," Mark said. "Pick out whatever you want." Emily tried on costume after costume, a vampire, a zombie cheerleader, a werewolf, but nothing felt quite right. Then, hanging in the corner, she spotted it. A black witch costume with a tattered cloak and a matching mask. The mask was particularly detailed, with a twisted, haunting expression frozen on its face. "This one, Dad. This is perfect." They grabbed the costume, along with a bunch of scary masks for the other guests, and headed home to prepare for the party. The night of the party arrived, and the Johnson house looked absolutely incredible. Dim lighting, fog machines pumping out mist, creepy background music playing the whole 9 yards. All their friends showed up in costume. Mark dressed as a vampire, Jennifer went as a fairy queen, and Emily, of course, was rocking her witch costume with that creepy mask. Everyone was wearing masks, so nobody could really tell who was who in the half-darkness. People were laughing, dancing, having a great time. Then Mark's friend, Peter, decided to take things up a notch. "Hey, everyone, listen up," Peter called out, getting the group's attention. "I've got an idea to make this party even more memorable. What if we tried to summon a real spirit?" The room went quiet. "Wait, what do you mean?" someone asked. "I'm serious," Peter said, getting excited. "Yesterday I was online, looking up how to make your Halloween party more exciting, and I found this game. It's supposed to let you invite an actual spirit to join the party. How cool would that be? Can you really summon spirits?" Another guest asked, half laughing, half curious. "I saw something like this in a show once," someone else chimed in. "They summoned a spirit and asked it questions. It actually answered them." Okay, but whose spirit would we even summon?" Jennifer asked skeptically. Everyone started throwing out names. Famous people, historical figures, all kinds of suggestions. But then, standing in the corner, there was this one guy. Nobody really remembered seeing him arrive. He was wearing the strangest costume, a white shirt and black pants, both completely torn and shredded, with what looked like blood stains all over them. It was like he'd been in some horrible accident. In a low, raspy voice, he spoke up. "You know, there was a car accident just a couple miles from here 2 days ago. A man died. His spirit is probably still lingering around this area. It would be easier to summon him." There was a moment of uncomfortable silence. "Oh man, that's dark," someone said. "But yeah, let's do it. Let's try to summon him." They set up in the living room. All the lights went off. They placed candles at the 4 corners of the room, casting long, flickering shadows on the walls. Some people put their fingers on a Ouija board in the center, while others stood around in a circle. "If there are any spirits here with us tonight, give us a sign," Peter said dramatically. "Show us you're here." They waited in silence. Then suddenly, whoosh, the curtains started whipping around violently. A gust of wind came out of nowhere and blew out all the candles, plunging the room into complete darkness. Wait, where did that wind come from?" someone asked nervously. "All the windows are closed." Then, breaking the tension, that weird guy in the bloody costume started laughing. He walked over to the light switch, flipped it on, and pulled off his mask, revealing Peter's friend, Jake. "Ha, got you all. Man, you should have seen your faces." "Jake, you jerk," Peter said, laughing despite himself. "We were actually getting into it. That was some good magic trick you pulled off there with the wind and the candles." Everyone started laughing, the tension breaking. They thought the whole thing had been an elaborate prank. But then, as Jake reached for the light switch again to set the mood back up, zap, he got a massive electric shock and stumbled backward. At the exact same moment, all the candles that had been blown out suddenly relit themselves, and the main lights went back off. "Okay, guys, that wasn't me," Jake said, his voice shaking. "I swear, I didn't do that." "Yeah, right?" someone scoffed. "Nice try, Jake. We're not falling for it twice." "No, seriously, I'm not joking. Something else is happening here." But nobody believed him. They all laughed it off, and in their excitement, they completely forgot the most important part. You're supposed to close the session and send the spirit back. They never did that. The spirit was still there, and it had found a home. It slipped into one of the masks lying on the side table. And when everyone put their masks back on to keep dancing, little Emily picked up that exact mask and put it on her face. The moment the mask touched her skin, she felt a jolt run through her entire body, but she shook it off and kept dancing, thinking nothing of it. The next day, Jennifer was in the kitchen preparing lunch. She was cutting up some raw chicken when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around and saw Emily standing there, still wearing that witch mask from the party. Before Jennifer could say anything, Emily reached out, grabbed a piece of raw chicken from the cutting board, and started eating it, just chomping down on raw meat. Jennifer froze. Her daughter, the girl who barely even liked cooked chicken, was eating it raw. "Emily, what are you doing?" Jennifer tried to grab the meat away from her. Emily's head snapped up. Her eyes behind the mask turned red. In a deep, guttural voice that definitely didn't belong to a 10-year-old girl, she growled, "How dare you stop me? I love meat. Don't you ever try to stop me from eating again." Jennifer backed away in horror as Emily dropped to the floor on all fours and continued tearing into the raw chicken like an animal. That evening, when Mark got home from work, Jennifer was a mess. She told him everything that had happened. "Honey, you know how Emily is," Mark said, trying to stay calm. "She's a stubborn kid. She probably heard someone at the party say raw meat tastes good, and now she's being difficult. You're overreacting. Mark, I'm telling you, something is wrong with her. Look, let's just check on her. Okay?" They went upstairs to Emily's room. She was supposed to be doing her homework. But when they opened the door, what they saw made Jennifer scream. Emily was crawling on the ceiling, upside down, her head twisted at an unnatural angle, laughing maniacally. Her face was covered in cuts and bruises, blood dripping from her forehead. Her arms and legs bent at impossible angles, like she'd been in a terrible accident. "Mark, I told you something was wrong," Jennifer sobbed. "I'm calling Father Matthews, right now." Mark ran out and returned within an hour with Father Matthews, a priest from their local church. The moment Father Matthews stepped into the house, he stopped. "There's something very wrong here," he said quietly. "I can feel it, a dark presence." As they walked toward Emily's room, the witch mask suddenly flew through the air and stopped right in front of Father Matthews. Behind it, Emily's possessed form appeared, her face twisted and bloody, her body contorted. She hissed at the priest, then suddenly started climbing the walls backward, laughing in that horrible, deep voice. Father Matthews immediately pulled out a bottle of holy water and splashed it on the mask and Emily. Emily's body instantly went limp and fell to the ground, returning to normal. But the mask was still floating. "Who are you?" Father Matthews demanded, holding up a cross. The mask flew over and attached itself to Jennifer's face. Through her, the spirit spoke. "I didn't come here on my own. They summoned me. They brought me here and then forgot to send me back. Leave this place," Father Matthews commanded. "These people invited me in. I have every right to be here." Father Matthews grabbed his cross and began praying intensely. He threw both the cross and holy water onto Jennifer. The mask screamed an inhuman, piercing shriek and flew off her face. The priest caught the mask, continuing his prayers as black smoke began pouring out of it. After several minutes, the smoke finally stopped. "It's gone," Father Matthews said, breathing heavily. "The spirit of Fernando Martinez has left the mask. But we need to bury this properly. Come with me." They drove to the local cemetery, and Father Matthews buried the mask in consecrated ground, performing a final blessing over it. "You three are very lucky," he said to the Johnson family. "Fernando's spirit wasn't malevolent. He was just confused, trapped. If you had summoned something truly evil, I don't know if we could have saved Emily. Promise me never, ever play games like that again. You don't know what you might invite in." Mark, Jennifer, and Emily nodded solemnly, traumatized by the experience. So there you have it, folks. The next time you think about making your Halloween party more memorable by summoning spirits, maybe just stick with bobbing for apples instead. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And let me know in the comments, have you ever experienced anything paranormal at a Halloween party? Until next time, stay safe and remember, some games aren't worth playing